What's going on, combat sports fans? Welcome to Joe's commentary and predictions. We've got UFC 210, my full fight live breakdown of DC Daniel Cormier versus Anthony Rumble Johnson 2 for the light heavyweight championship on April 8th, 2017 in Buffalo, New York. So if you're new to the channel, punch that subscribe button into submission and make sure to let us know down below your thoughts and opinions and let us know what you think, and also slap that like button. And we are underway. The fight is happening, and Rumble is putting pressure on DC. DC is staying in there with them and the set toward the center of the octagon. Rumble throwing some heavy hands right away. DC just popped Rumble Johnson in the shoulder with a heavy hand, and Rumble going lefts and rights, and DC eats a couple of shots, and he's going for kind of like a guillotine as Anthony Johnson is trying to take him down. DC is fighting off the takedown right now. Rumble is trying to pick him up and scoop him down as he's got him up against the cage. This is intense. Let us know what you think of how the audio is. Let me know as we have a new headset here. DC and Johnson are fighting for hand control. Knee to the body of Rumble by DC up against the cage. DC breaking free from the hand control. Johnson has underhooks. DC now has one. Oh, DC has both underhooks. And Johnson's trying to grate him up against the cage like a cheese grater, but DC pops him with the knee to the gut. Johnson is trying to take him down. DC hitting him with some elbows. Big John McCarthy's yelling at him, watch the back of the head. DC hitting him with more elbows. Johnson tripped him up a little bit, took him down for a split second, and DC gets back up. Rumble is holding on to the hands. He ate a knee, and then Rumble kneed him in the thigh. DC breaking free of the hand fight. Underhook. Both guys have underhook on each other. DC trying to get double underhooks. He's grating him up against the cage still. Sliding him. DC tried to reverse and take Johnson down. Johnson's fighting with him. He's got a bear hug. It looks like DC might go for a pile driver. No, that's not allowed, right? And Rumble tried to take him down. DC sprawled out right on top of him. And now DC has Rumble up against the cage. DC could go for a knee to the head right now when it would be perfectly legal. Rumble. Oh, DC pushes him up against the cage. He doesn't go for any knees there. He's trying to take him down. Both burning a lot of energy here in the first round. DC going with underhooks onto Johnson. Both fighting for arm control. Rumble's got a pretty tight underhook on one arm. On the right arm of DC. DC trying to punch Johnson in the head. He kneed him in the thigh. Grating Johnson up against the cage. DC is pushing his head into Johnson's head. Now they're both fighting for control right now. As DC has Johnson up against the cage. DC does not want to break free of Johnson right now, because on the break free, Johnson could end up cracking him with a nasty shot. Knee to the body of Johnson by DC as he's got him clinched up. He's got a kind of like a headlock guillotine attempt, putting a lot of pressure on Johnson. Tried to go for single leg. Johnson hits DC with the knee to the belly, and DC and Johnson are fighting for position. Johnson's trying to reverse it. Oh, and he hits him with a left and right. He knees DC in the head. Johnson is still up against the cage, though. DC's putting pressure on him. Johnson with some bursts of energy, popping off some nasty shots there a moment ago. DC is punching him. Oh, the referee breaks him up. 1 minute to go in the first round, and the referee broke them free. They end up... Oh! And knees... Oh, he kicked him. He punched him, uppercut. Johnson hit DC with an uppercut, then kneed him, and then went for a head kick and missed. Very interesting. A lot of leg kicks by Johnson. Pushing DC up against the cage. DC trying to get him in a headlock. Rumble going for a single leg. He's deep down on that single leg. And DC's trying to fight it off with an underhook and a headlock. Kind of like a guillotine attempt. They're right up against the door with 20 seconds, 15 to go, and DC looks like he's trying to crank on the neck of Johnson, but Johnson's keeping his head down low. DC's pushing on it. DC's punching him in the head with Johnson's head ducked down as he's trying to get a double leg on him to end the round. Hit double leg takedown to end the round, as right before the buzzer hit, Johnson scooped him up and dumped him down right at the buzzer, and that counts as a takedown in my book. I think that was right before the buzzer. So they tapped gloves, a knee to the belly, a left hand, and then an uppercut, and a knee to the head, kick to the head. The second one grazed him. That highlight replay there is nasty. Oh, he picked him up and scooped him down right at the buzzer. That'll be interesting to see if they count that takedown or not. I think they should count that takedown. Big Dog Jimmy says hell no. That was not that takedown should not have counted, which I'm surprised because you're going for Johnson and I'm going for DC, and you're saying that takedown shouldn't have counted. I'm saying it should have. So it's pretty interesting. I would think you would agree with me, Big Dog Jimmy. Kind of wild on that one. I don't see this going 3 rounds. I think if it goes to the 3rd round, it's going to end in the 3rd. I will be shocked to see this one go any further than 3 rounds in this 5-round scheduled championship fight for the light heavyweight championship with Cormier versus Johnson 2 at UFC 210. And we are underway in the 2nd round. And they meet in the center of the octagon. DC with a high kick there. Rumble going with the southpaw. They're saying that's interesting. He goes for a lengthy left, switches angles. They're both punching at each other. Rumble, DC in the center of the octagon still. Oh, DC going for a takedown this time. And Rumble gets away, but then DC chases him down, gets him up against the cage. And they're fighting on the cage once again, grinding each other up against the cage. DC's pushing Johnson up against the cage like a cheese grater, like he's cheese on a cheese grater. Underhook by Johnson onto DC. DC trying to get some strikes in up against the cage. Both kneeing each other in the thighs. Very intense. My shoulder's hurting again. I think I slept on it wrong. Ooh, knees to the belly. Johnson's trying to get free. DC's putting a lot of pressure on Johnson. Big John McCarthy yelling at him to keep working. I think Big John McCarthy's about to split him up. DC Johnson tried to break free, but DC tried to go for a head and arm takedown, and Johnson reverses and gets DC up against the cage. We are 7 minutes into the fight, and this is where DC said once we got 7 minutes in that Johnson would be done. Oh, Johnson slides him up against the cage and takes him down. DC's trying to get back up to his feet. He gets back up to his feet. And DC and Johnson, oh, a knee to the belly and the chest area of DC. DC going for a single leg onto Johnson. Johnson's pushing down on his head, and DC trips Johnson down, and he takes the back of Johnson as Johnson's on his knees. DC once again, just like the first time they fought, he took his back, and he got some nice strikes on him. He's got the legs clenched, legs wrapped around Johnson's body. Johnson's trying to get to his side, to his back to be able to get back up. DC is still on the back of Johnson. He's got side control on him. Johnson's trying to get back up. DC is wrestling around with him on the ground, striking him with some forearms to the side of the face, punching him with some little chops that have got to be annoying, popping him by the ear and the jaw. The referee yelling at him to watch where he's hitting him. He's trying to go for a rear naked choke, but nope. Johnson fights it off. DC is still going for punches. DC is punching him in the neck, side of the neck, by the ear on Johnson. DC has got a leg wrapped around Johnson. He's punching him with lefts and rights, well, a bunch of actually lefts, and he's hitting him with some vicious strikes there. He's taking the neck of Johnson. He's trying to get, no, he's He put his hand over his mouth. Now he's going for a rear naked chokehold onto Johnson, and he tapped out. Oh my God, DC tapped out Anthony Rumble Johnson for a second time. Wow, crazy. John Jones's face expression is expressionless. He has no expression on his face as this just took place. Wow. It's just like DC said. If it went past 7 minutes, he would finish him. And he did just that. Wow. That is crazy. I am amazed by that. That is nuts. That he was able to choke out Johnson twice. Wow. He chose to engage him in grappling, and that was where Johnson made a mistake. He should have kept on trying to box with him instead of grappling up with him up against the cage. Crazy. He grabbed that leg, tripped him down, took him to the ground, gets on top of him, takes his back, and then just keeps on beating on him with back fist hammers, little punches to the side of the head with the right arm, and then eventually he can tell that he's worn down, and he takes that neck and gets a rear naked chokehold on him. He smothered his face for a second, and then he just took him with that rear naked choke. He wasn't defending himself. He actually didn't even tap Big John McCarthy. He stopped it because Johnson wasn't defending himself. He must have been concussed or something from all those punches that he took from Daniel Cormier. That was crazy. If you enjoyed this video and you like it that DC is still the light heavyweight champion, punch that subscribe button into submission and make sure to slap that like button. I mean, if you like it that DC won by rear naked chokehold and you like our breakdown, slap the like button, share the video with your family and friends. Make sure to punch that subscribe button into submission. Combat Sports is awesome, and you guys are amazing. Thanks for watching.